Good evening. Can you see me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, children? Yeah, all of you. All, if you can, please give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up, and I can just understand that you can see me. Yes. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Nobody's there. Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me. Just write it in the chat. Can you just write it in the chat that you can hear me? Chat over there. Okay, yes. So now I believe you can hear me. Today, this topic that, yeah, there were some initial issues because maybe like some yes, Tanvi, I'm just waiting for another 2 minutes more so that I can expect all to join quickly. There was a bit glitches in the beginning of the session, so now the issue is resolved. Now I can see most of you are joining. I'm just connecting through my phone. So just keep writing your concern so that I can see now four people have joined, and I'm just waiting for all others to join so that we can have a very good interactive session right now. Am I echoing now? Am I echoing now? If you can just write in the or my voice is clear now. If you can just write in the chat, is my voice clear? Is my voice clear? No? Can you hear me? Is my voice clear? Is it echoing? Is it echoing now? Yeah, okay, much better. Okay, so my topic was today that I was discussing was on PASSÉ COMPOSÉ. As I've told you before also that it's perfect now. Okay, fine, Darshana. Thank you. Okay, so the topic on which we are discussing today is on PASSÉ COMPOSÉ, and it's a topic which is a little tough for the French learners, and it is a little more tough those people who are beginners, and it's definitely a very new topic for the people who are learning French for the first time. And I know very clearly that most of you are learning this language through this platform only. So that is the reason I would like to give importance to this particular topic. Very important, because these are certain basic things you must know as far as the language is concerned. Tenses. Tenses plays a very vital role. Tenses plays a very vital role in any language. Let it be French, let it be English, let it be German, let it be Hindi, or any language for that case. The basic thing required is to know tenses very clearly, because if you don't know tenses, now at this point of time, we were discussing that tenses means passé composé in French, which mean in English is simple past tense. And I was telling you that let us specify it in a very deeper way, rather than not just saying it as tenses in general, because past tense in general, I will repeat, it's not just past tense in general, it is simple past, because simple past is one of the strand among the four strands of tenses. Regular and irregular, only regular. Yeah, we are going to discuss, in fact, passé composé in general, not just regular and irregular. We are going to study passé composé with regular as well as irregular formations. Okay, so let me just brief you what is actually passé composé. Passé composé is the simple past tense, and when we talk about simple past tense, it's also known as infinite past. It's also known as infinite past, because something that started at some point in the past and was going on maybe few hours back, or not cannot say few hours back, till yesterday. If it is few hours back, it's past perfect. Okay, so when we talk about simple past, it is something that happened till yesterday, something that started in the past years back and was going on till yesterday, and that is simple past. And in French, like in English, we make use of two auxiliary verbs. Okay, we make use of two auxiliary verbs. So I'm very sure that my viewers are very clearly having a concept of the auxiliary verbs, let it be in English or in French. I'm sure. How many of you know auxiliary verbs are? Auxiliary verbs. And which are the auxiliary verbs? Can you please write it in the chat? Which are the auxiliary verbs? Let it be English or French. Please keep on writing. I would like to see your conversation so that we can have an interactive session. What are the auxiliary verbs? Please write it down. Okay, avoir, okay. And in English, what does it mean? What does it avoir in English mean? Avoir in English means, okay, êtres, yes, Tanvi, correct. Avoir and êtres, these are the two auxiliary verbs. What do they mean in English? What do they mean in English? Yes, yes, Megan, you are very correct. It is êtres and avoir, and êtres and avoir are the two auxiliary verbs in English as well. To have and to be. Adrina, very correct, very correct. To have and to be are the two auxiliary verbs in English and in French. Now, they have similarities and they have dissimilarities. They have similarities and they have dissimilarities. And before going to the similarities, Evangeline, good evening, Evangeline. How are you? Good to see you joining this session. And in today's session, we are actually discussing on passé composé in general, irrespective to avoir or être. So let us check how it is and what are we going to learn today. Something very new, very new. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. Okay, so as I told you, we have already discussed what is passé composé. Passé composé means simple past in English, and we cannot simply say that past tense because simple past is all divided into, or past tense is divided into 4 strands. Okay, so let us now see how do we make use of these auxiliary verbs. We know that, or we have just discussed that, we have two auxiliaries in French as well as in English. In French, they are avoir and être, whereas in English, they are have and to be form of the verb, right? Now, I was telling you that there are similarities and dissimilarities, or the way we use auxiliary verbs in English and the way we use auxiliary verbs in French. There are many similarities between English and French way of using passé composé or simple past tense, and they differ as well. Is there any one particular similarity that I would like to tell you is that both use the same auxiliary verbs. Both English and French use the same auxiliary verbs, that is avoir if I say, that is have in English, and être that I say, that is have, to be in English. Messi, good to see you, Messi. Thank you for joining today's evening session. Soir, oui, je crois. Okay, so I want you people to have a very good interactive session because it's learning that is happening here. So let it be a very interactive session. Okay, I want my audience, my viewers to have a good discussion with me. Salut and salut. A good discussion with me so that we can take this session in a very interactive way. Not just, I don't want to be just a speaker here. I want to interact with you, okay? Yes, Megan, that's the spirit. I want you to be very active as usual. Okay, so the similarities between passé composé and the simple past tense in English is that both take the same auxiliary verbs. Both take the same auxiliary verbs, that is avoir and être. But the way they are different is certain agreements that we follow in French, whereas in English, we don't follow any of such agreements. Ahmed Riaz, good evening, Ahmed. Good to see you joining. Okay, so the basic dissimilarity is that in French, we have many agreements that to be followed when we have an adjective or when you have a tense form, whereas in English, we actually don't follow any of such agreements. We also know that English, even a simple definite article or a simple indefinite article that we use in English does not agree with the gender and the number, whereas when we talk about the articles or any tense form in French, they are specified. They are specified because they have specific usage for feminine genders. There are specific usage for masculine genders. We have specific usage for the plural usage. So in short, what I would like to tell you is that French is categorized in a very beautiful way. So if you learn it in a very systematical way, that will be something very easy for you to interpret and to understand. French is not at all a difficult subject. Only thing is that you must have a passion to learn it. And as far as I believe, my viewers are actually passionate. That's one reason I feel that you stay connected with me during all the live sessions. I would love to do live streaming every weekend, but due to the tight schedule, I've actually planned to have live stream twice in a month. So I'm sure all of you will definitely join me twice a month for your live stream sessions. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we were discussing about Passé Composé, and today's our topic is on Passé Composé. Let us learn and understand this particular concept in a deeper way, because I know out there I have my few of the viewers who are really new to this particular concept. Maybe hearing this particular name, Passé Composé, also for the first time. Don't worry, we are actually going to learn it to the best way. Okay, so thank you, Megan. So we are going to learn it to the best way. So now when I talk about Passé Composé, it is simple past tense. You know it is formed, yes, Rajkumar, good evening. You know that it is formed by the help of the auxiliary verbs, and the auxiliary verbs are avoir and êtres. These are few basic things that you have to keep in mind. Okay, so today actually I am doing this live stream through my mobile phone. So I really wanted to show you a few presentations, but as I was trying to do with my another system, which was having certain glitches. So that's the reason I'm going live today with my mobile phone. So at times I may not be able to show you with the presentation, but I'm sure that I will make sure. Yes, Megan, I'll show you the next time. But I'm sure all of you are so smart that you can understand with the concept that I would like to tell you. Okay, so the first thing is formation. The formation of Passé Composé. Now when we talk about formation, every language has got a structure. Every language has got a structure. English has got a different structure. French has got a different structure. Spanish, German, Hindi, every language has got different structure. Fine. They are molded into that form. So what I mean to say is that the formation plays a very vital role in the tense formation of Passé Composé. It is the pronoun sujet. When we talk about pronoun sujet, I have already uploaded the video on pronoun sujet in French. Please do, all the new viewers, please do visit that particular video. I'm sure you will be able to get a very good concept. So pronoun sujet, and in a brief, I would like to tell you that pronoun sujet is je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, and elle. So these are actually pronoun sujet. So when I say pronoun sujet, without pronoun sujet, you cannot actually form any conjugations. Conjugations are very vital aspect of any language, I must say, but French in particular. Because without conjugations, writing, reading French is really impossible. Okay. Kylie, you can hear me? I believe just rectify the increase the volume. I'm sure you will be able to hear. Okay. So pronoun sujet plays a very vital role, because without pronoun sujet you can't do conjugations, and conjugations are very important in French. And when I say conjugations, subject pronouns, pronoun sujet in French is pronoun sujet. In English we say subject pronouns. That is je, which means I, tu, which means you, and il, elle, which means he or she, nous means we, vous means you again, and il, elle means the plural they. Okay, so without the pronoun sujet, conjugation is not possible. Subject pronoun, Megan, yes, very true. In French we say pronoun sujet. So the formation of Passé Composé is pronoun sujet plus the auxiliary plus the past participle of the main verb. Plus the past participle of the main verb. So whatever is the verb you are using, you have to put that in the past tense. I'm not considering here present tense at all because the topic here is on simple past tense. So that's why I'm telling you, I'm taking the infinite form of the verb and then we actually use the past participle of the infinite form. We are not using the infinite form. We are using the past participle of the infinite form. So the auxiliary plus the past participle. There are two parts. To form passé composé, you must be having pronoun sujet, you must be having the auxiliary, and you must have the past participle of the main verb that you are using. That combines the passé composé. Without all the three together, you can't form passé composé. Now, that is the first thing that you have to keep in mind. Before going further, let me tell you that, in French, it's something, a broader concept. Those who know passé composé, very good. Those who don't know, please understand that. In general, French tenses are divided into 13 forms. French tenses are divided into 13 forms. And when I say 13 forms, they are again subdivided into compound tenses and simple tenses. They are divided into compound tenses and simple tenses. I could see somebody has joined new. Can you just tell me your name? Maggie. Okay. From where are you? Where have you joined us right now? I have a new person who have. Okay, Tanya. Okay, Tanya. Okay. So yes. No issues, Shreya. I've just started with the discussion. Okay. Uh, yes. Okay. So the French verbs are divided into 13 forms, and the 13 forms of verbs are again subdivided into two strands, that is simple tenses and the compound tenses. Now, you must be wondering what is simple tense and what is compound tense. Simple tenses are the one which neither has an auxiliary nor expressions, whereas compound tenses are the one which either has auxiliary or expressions. Okay, so simple tense and compound tense. So passé composé is actually a compound tense. It's a compound tense because it has an auxiliary in it, and that's the reason we call it as a compound tense. In broader clarification of the tenses, if I say, it means that in French, there are 7 compound tenses and 6 simple tenses. 7 compound tenses and 6 simple tenses. And 7 compound tenses, if I name it, just for your knowledge, I'm telling you, they are passé composé, futur intérieur, pluscup parfait. Yes, Megan, correct. 6 simple tenses and 7 compound tenses. And the compound tenses are passé composé, futur intérieur, pluscup parfait, conditional passé, subjunctive passé, future perfect or futur proche, and also passé récent. These are the compound tenses in French because they either have auxiliary or they have expressions. So passé composé is the first among the compound tense that a person. Hello. How are you, beta? I'm fine. Okay. So they are the different forms, and you will be learning these forms the way you keep progressing learning French. So the first basic thing is your simple past tense, that is passé composé, and that's the first compound tense that you learn in French. Okay, now going further, simple tenses you actually know, and you have been learning, those who are the learners of French language. Which are they? Even simple present is a simple tense. Present tense, future tense, imparfait, they are all simple tenses, whereas you have 7 compound tenses. Okay, let us now go in deep with passé composé. As I said that, yes, Vaishnav, good evening. Okay, so let us go further in passé composé. I told you the formation. The formation of a passé composé is the auxiliary plus the past participle. Now, the French passé composé can be divided into regular as well as irregular. Okay, Messi has written something. Passé composé means, okay, Messi, as I said, okay, real hard topic, but once you get through, you will enjoy solving exercise. Very true, Messi, very true. It is something because, and that's a first compound tense, that is you are learning for the first time in French, and once you learn it, it will enhance your language. It will enhance your language because every time you cannot use simple present tense. You have to make use of different forms of verbs, and past tense is some one of the first of the compound tense that you learn. Okay, strictly I'm talking on the basis of grammar today because it is a very important component in French language, and that is passé composé. Okay, so as I said that, it is having regular as well as irregular past participles. So I will take you in deep and make you understand how are they irregular and how are they regular. Fine. The regular formations. First of all, for that, everybody should understand, how many groups of verbs are there in French. In French, there are three groups of verbs that are namely er, ir, and re. And with these groups of verbs, they have regular formations and they have irregular formations of the past participle. So when I talk about a regular ER group of verb, as I said, you have the infinite form. And from the infinite form of the verb, you have to remove. The first one is ER. You remove the ER and then add their E accent aigu. I've given a very full-fledged video on accent marks. So please do visit my channel to view that particular video on accent marks. It will really give you a very good idea about accent marks in French. Accent marks plays a very important role. In broader way, if I say that, it is equal to say matraएं in Hindi. Matra in Hindi, okay, or it's a spelling error. If you don't put the accent marks appropriately, it's a big spelling error. Okay, so accent marks plays a very important role. Bonjour D'Souza. Okay, so you have to form a regular ER group of verb, cut the ER and then add E accent aigu. Similarly, when you have to form a regular IR group of verb, you cut IR and add I. And if it is RE, you remove RE and add U to it. I'm talking about regular groups in which you form the simple past tense. But when it comes to irregular, there are, I don't say only those are there, but then there are 42 irregular past participles, which is very, very important because they are regular in use. They are regular in use. There are 42 irregular past participles in French, which are mostly used and which is very important. But these irregular past participles never says that they are only the one that takes êTRE or the only one that takes AVOIR. Okay, they are the mixture of both êTRE as an auxiliary and AVOIR as an auxiliary. There is a very big difference when you take êTRE as an auxiliary and when you take AVOIR as an auxiliary. Yeah, as I told my viewers that I want your communication with me, so that please write it in a message. Those who know why do we have difference when we have êTRE as an auxiliary and AVOIR as an auxiliary. Please keep writing in the chat. What is the difference between when we have êTRE as an auxiliary and AVOIR as an auxiliary? Try, Megan. No issues in trying. You learn from your errors, and I have always told all my students, unless you commit mistakes, you are not learning. You are not learning. Okay. Try out what is the difference in the way you use or how many verbs. Tanvi, try. How many verbs are there that takes êTRE as an auxiliary? And because as I said before that they are êTRE and AVOIR as auxiliaries. But then what you have to keep in mind is that there are only few verbs that takes être as an auxiliary, and there are more verbs that takes avoir as an auxiliary. Fine. So the verbs that takes être as an auxiliary are only 16 verbs. There are only 16 verbs, and usually we know them with a abbreviated form, Dr. and Mrs. Vandrutham. Dr. and Mrs. Vandatan, because that gives you or helps you in understanding that particular 16 verbs in a very systematical way. So only those 16 verbs. Okay, make what is your that you have written difference of verbs. Être is a perfect tense and agreement with the past participle. Yes, yes, very true. Okay, so these are the 16 verbs that takes être as an auxiliary. We are also knowing them with another name. They are also known as movement verbs. They are also known as movement verbs. And when I say movement verbs, they are actually talking about that. For example, few examples that I would like to say. Partir. Partir is to leave. Sortir is also mean to leave. Arriver is to come. Descendre is to come down. Okay, these are, say, you can say that a few example only I have told you, they shows movement. Then when we have movement, like for example mourir means to die. It's also a kind of movement, life, and then after life or death. Fine. So these are movement verbs, and that's the reason these 16 verbs are also known as movement verbs. Apart from these movement verbs, we have pronominal verbs. We have pronominal verbs, which is also known as reflexive verbs, are the ones that takes the être as an auxiliary. So reflexive verbs also take être as an auxiliary. So only these are the ones that takes être as an auxiliary, whereas the list that takes avoir as an auxiliary is numerous. It's innumerous, because it's too many, I should say, that you can't actually note down. There are many, because there are many verbs in French, and when we talk about verbs, they are in er, ir, and re in different forms. Okay, so yes, let us go further in understanding the one that takes être as an auxiliary. I told you that the verb that être takes as an auxiliary are only very less. They are 16 in number, and the pronominal verbs. Now, the most important thing that you have to keep in mind when you are taking être as an auxiliary is that they follow an agreement. They follow an agreement. Now, what is the agreement? The agreement is the past participle agree to the noun it follows. The past participle agree to the noun it follows. And when I say the agreement of the past participle, that is, if the noun is feminine, the past participle is feminine. If the noun is masculine, the past participle is masculine. If the noun is plural, the past participle is plural. This is the agreement. Fine, that's what you have to keep in mind, and this is only applicable with those 16 verbs that has taken être as an auxiliary, not the one that has taken avoir as an auxiliary. Agreement with the gender of the pronoun sujet. Exactly, Messi. We are talking about the agreement with the pronoun sujet. And pronoun sujet, when it is I is always the first person, that is you as a first person, and the agreement should go according to that. Whereas he, she, if it is masculine, the past participle will agree as masculine. If it is feminine, the past participle will become feminine. Whereas this rule is only applicable with those auxiliary verbs that takes être as an auxiliary. Only those verbs, not the one that takes avoir as an auxiliary. That's a very important concept. And it's not something that you insert in a bracket. Agreement should go with the subject pronoun. Agreement must go with the subject pronoun. That's the first important thing that you have to keep in mind when you talk about agreement. Now, I was telling you about different forms of verbs and different tenses in French, and among that, passé composé is the first tense form, and it is the compound tense, right? Now, when I talk, I have already told you about the regular group of verb, ER group of verb, IR group of verb, and the RE group of verb. And I have also discussed about the irregular past participle. There are 42 in among them. Now, let us see how do we form passé composé. You have got a broader idea about what is passé composé and how do you form passé composé, right? Now, my next point is the most important thing is that we are not always forming passé composé in affirmative form. We must know how to form passé composé in negative as well as interrogatives. As well as interrogatives. As you know that the formation that I told you when to form into passé composé with affirmative is pronoun sujet, that is je as a first person, and then you have tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, and elle. So you take the pronoun sujet je, you add with the same subject pronoun the auxiliary and the past participle. The auxiliary, suppose I am taking the verb, an example I am giving you. Suppose I am taking the verb parler. Parler in English means to speak. So if I have to say that I have spoken, so then I have to use the auxiliary verb avoir, and it means j'ai parlé. J'ai parlé means I have spoken. If I say je parle, it means I'm speaking. If I say I have spoken, I have to talk is also mean to parler only, but we usually say to speak. Okay, so when I say yes, exactly, correct formation, Megan. J'ai parlé is the correct formation. So that's what I was telling you. When you write j'ai parlé, that means that I have spoken. So you have used the auxiliary verb along with the pronoun sujet and the past participle. You can make this same passé composé in negation. How do you form in negation? In negative form, when you have to write the pronoun sujet, that is je. Then, how do you form negation? The formation of negation is ne, any plus verb plus pa. Ne plus verb plus pa. Exactly, Megan. That's the correct formation. Yes. So when you form negation in French, in passé composé, it is, yes, I can see most of you are making exactly. This is the formation. So you have to use the pronoun sujet plus ne plus auxiliary plus pa plus the past participle. So this is the way you make use of the passé composé in negation. So that is the way you have learned or you have understood that passé composé does not have only affirmative, it also have negative. And now we are going to understand how do you form passé composé in interrogative. Because when you frame sentences, you should know how to make a sentence in affirmative. You should know how to make sentences in negative. You also should know how to frame questions as well. Fine. So it's a little tricky one, but then I'm sure you will be able to understand. Now, all of you, or most of you, I should say, to my new viewers who are learning and understanding French from this platform, you must watch the video that I have uploaded on avoir verb, être verb, and aller verb, the conjugation in present tense. Before you start practicing passé composé, that is simple past tense, because as I told you, and now you also know that it is only avoir and être that is being used as auxiliary verbs. So knowing the present tense of these two verbs are very important. Just for your knowledge, I will like to tell you right now here. It is avoir is j'ai, tu as, il, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. Whereas être is je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, and elles sont. So this is the present tense of the auxiliary. As I told you, we are using the être and avoir as auxiliary in the present tense form. along with the past participle. So knowing these two verbs in its present tense form is very important. If you don't understand, or if you are not able to learn the conjugation of these two verbs in present tense, understanding its past participle usage will be a bit difficult. So you must know thoroughly the auxiliary verbs in French, how to conjugate them in present tense. Okay, so I was telling you about the formation in interrogations. Keep in mind very clearly, when you say interrogations in passé composé, it's actually inversion. It's actually inversion. You invert the verb. You invert the verb. For example, j'ai will become age. Okay, j'ai will become age. Tu as will become as-tu. Similarly, a-t-il, a-t-elle, avons-nous, avez-vous, ont-ils, ont-elles. Je suis will become suis-je, es-tu, est-il, est-elle. Sommes-nous, êtes-vous, sont-ils, sont-elles. So this is the way you form interrogations in passé composé. So knowing passé composé, or to make use of passé composé, or to do passé composé in French, understanding of êtres and avoir verb in present tense is must. Otherwise, you cannot either make affirmation in passé composé, nor you can make negations in passé composé, nor you can make interrogations in passé composé. So, if I have to ask a question, have you gone to the school, or have you been there last year? So, as-tu, I will be using as-tu in place of tu as. I have inverted. I have inverted. So there are three types of questioning in French. That is using of intonations. That is use of the second way is est, and the third form is inversion. So you are using here actually the inversion when you are to make a passé composé in French. And also remember one thing. We say that inversion is not something which is possible in French from first person, that is je, but it is only in passé composé that the inversion is possible from first person. That's the reason we can do the inversion in passé composé with je, and that's how it is. Age in present tense you actually cannot do with avoir verb or the inversion with any of the verb. It's only with êtres and avoir that you do inversions. And if you remember, êtres and avoir are only verbs that we use it as auxiliary verbs in French. Yeah, so I'm sure this concept is clear, that how do you form interrogations in French. You invert it and then you form the formations. Okay, so very importantly, yeah, okay, fine. Very importantly, you must know that the French verbs have got three groups, and in three groups, all the groups have their own real usages when you are making passé composé. Sure, Megan, sure. Okay, so that's the way you form the interrogation in French. Now, the second, or I should say, I've already told you a few important things when you have to make passé composé in French. Another important aspect of passé composé when you have to use it, maybe you are writing an essay, or for example, you can say that you are talking about something about your last weekend or your last summer vacation. So expressions also plays a very vital role when you have to put a particular tense in past tense. How do we make use of it? Let me just tell you. As you know, in English, when I'm talking about today, you say today and write. It is yesterday, it will change into yesterday, last year. Same expressions we use in French as well. If it is yesterday, in French we say hier. So you cannot actually make past tense in French by just putting the verb in passé composé and not changing the expressions. Okay, so that is another important aspect that you have to keep in mind, that expressions also plays a very vital role in passé composé. And when I say expressions, Thank you. So when I thank you, Megan. So when I say expressions, today in French, when it becomes yesterday, today is aujourd'hui. Today is aujourd'hui. But yesterday in French is hier. And when I say yesterday morning, hier matin. Yesterday afternoon, hier après-midi. Hier is H-I-E-R. H-I-E-R. Hier means yesterday. I'm just repeating for people who just you are noting down these things, which actually will see. I don't. This should be a platform which you can utilize in learning French. And understanding this particular language. That's the reason I am interacting. I'm having a session in a very interactive way, so that I know your doubts and your clarifications, and that will enable you to understand this particular language in a better way. So when we put expressions, as I said, it's only not the conjugation that matters when you are converting a present tense into past tense. It is also the expressions. And the expressions are yesterday will become hier, yesterday morning, hier matin, yesterday afternoon, hier après-midi, or if you just want to say that last weekend, le weekend dernier. Le weekend dernier, that is last weekend. Last week will be le semaine dernière. Le semaine dernière. That means last week. If you want to talk about something that was last month, it will be le mois dernier. Mois in French is month. So le mois dernier. Please do visit my previous videos on which I have given a very good description about months, weeks in French with the proper pronunciation. So all the beginners really request you to revisit those videos, so that you get a very good, you have to learn from basics. And when you learn basics, as you always say that the basic should be very strong. If the basement is not strong, you cannot build up a strong building over it. So your basic should be strong. Even if it is a language, it really matters. Fine. So yes, so you are talking about expressions. Expressions should be something. When you are writing in past, the expressions should take past tense. When you are writing in present, your expressions should talk about the present. And when you are talking about future, in my upcoming live chats, I will be bringing the next topics will be as a future tense, so you get a better idea about the future tense. So the expressions also must change into future tense, right? So these are some most important things that you have to keep in mind when you understand passé composé. You know now the difference in the way passé composé and simple past tense in English is used. English in general do not follow any agreement with the verb that they follow. You just have to use the auxiliary verbs and the third form of the verb. Whereas in French, you have to understand in a very depth, I should say that, because French is discriminated on the basis of gender and number. And when you have these gender and number, your auxiliary, your past participle, everything agrees according to that. So now I believe you know what is passé composé. Passé composé in French is actually simple past tense. Okay, I'm just giving a recap of those who couldn't join in the beginning. It is simple past tense in English, and when we talk about simple past tense in English, that is passé composé in French. And I'm sure that passé composé, for the viewers, those who are in my channel now, it's not a new term for you. It is not a new term because you have understood the concept of this particular terminology in French. You know what is passé composé. It is not just a tense, because, and when I say tense, or when I simply say past, it is again divided into simple past, past perfect, past continuous, and past perfect continuous. And in French, you have different strands for them as you have it for English. Fine. So I'm sure you will be understanding this concept in a better way, so that you learn, you read, you write, you understand, and you speak this particular beautiful language in the best way. Fine. Now you know also the formation of this verb. If you have understood the formation, or if you have any doubts, please write it in the chat so that I can understand. And if any particular concept If you have not understood, I would request you to please write in the chat. Have you understood this concept? Okay. I can hear from Megan as yes. I would request others also to please write pin in few lines that you have understood this particular concept, how to form passe compose with a regular group of verb, with an irregular group of verb. I have also told you that there are a list of 42 verbs which we generally use it as irregular formations. And when I talk about irregular past participle, they actually, yes, good, Tanvi. So they actually do not follow the regular format. The past participle is totally different when it is an irregular formation. As you know that êTRE and AVOIR are also irregular verbs. That's why I told you please revisit my video on êTRE, AVOIR and ALER, where I have given a clear description about what is the difference between a regular group of verb and an irregular group of verb. I have also told you how do we differ a regular verb from an irregular verb. So just for your knowledge, I would like to tell you that the difference between a regular group of verb and an irregular group of verb is that they are not, a regular group of verb will be similar in the infinite form and the conjugated form, whereas an irregular verb will be different not only between the infinite form and the conjugated form, but also different in the conjugated form itself. A small example that I would like to state here is if you take êTRE verb, the infinite form of the êTRE verb is êTRE, which means to be in English. And when I conjugate, you know it is je suis, S-U-I-S. Then it takes tu, E-S. Then it takes il and L-A, that is E-S-T. Then nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. So with each subject pronoun, it varies. So you cannot call something which is varying with every subject pronoun as regular. It is totally irregular. Whereas when you say avoir also, that is also totally irregular. There is no similarities between the infinite form and the conjugated form. They are totally different. They are not only different in the infinite form and the conjugated form, they are also different in the way they are conjugated. If I say avoir, it is j'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. So this is an example for an irregular verb. And when I take a regular verb, I have said before also, that is parler. If I take parler, it is P-A-R-L-E-R. And that parler remains same with all the subject pronouns. It remains same with all the subject pronouns. And how do they are same? Can you hear me? Is my voice breaking now? If you can hear me, please write it in the chat that my voice is clear now to you. If it is breaking, do let me know, because I'm telling you a very important concept here. When we say that it is a regular verb as ER group of verb, there is a similarity between the infinite form. Yes, thank you. Okay. There is a similarity between the infinite form and the conjugated form, because we are using parler as an infinite form of the verb. And what I have to, when I conjugate it, I take parler only throughout the subject pronoun. It is je parle, tu parles, il, elle parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il, elle parla. So we are not actually changing from the infinite form and the conjugated form. Okay, we are not actually changing from the infinite form and the conjugated form. It is same. It is the infinite form and the conjugate form are same. Whereas êTRE and AVOIR are the very best examples that their infinite form is different, their conjugated form is different. And that's the most important thing that you have to keep in mind when you are learning conjugations. Tenses, let it be past tense, let it be present tense, let it be future tense, let it be future perfect, past continuous, past perfect continuous. Any forms of verb that you learn, you must be very sure in its present tense form. Because if you are not clear with the present tense form, you will not be clear in any of the forms, because in every strand, though they vary, but the most important thing is how do they look like when they are in present tense. Okay, so that's a very important concept that you have to keep in mind. That's the reason I was telling you, please do revisit. If you are a person who is really taking French as a serious subject for you, because as I've told you that French plays a very vital role. I have told you about why French can be considered among the reasons why you can learn French or take it as a trump card. It's definitely a trump card to you. It's definitely a trump card to you, because in this present scenario, a foreign language like French has got a very vital role, especially when you have broader chances of going into countries that speaks French. That is something, a very important concept that you have to keep in mind, because the opportunities are so much. Oui, d'accord, definitely. I will be definitely coming up with the COD and COI. Yes, please do write your suggestions, which topics you want me to come up with you, so that I'm actually willing to go with your suggestions. Avni, good evening, Avni. Good to see you, dear. Good to see you that you have joined. You actually missed on to the session. But definitely I would request you to watch the video, so that I'm sure that you will be able to understand what I have taught today. A very important concept: there is no harm in learning a foreign language. I was telling that learning a foreign language, especially a language like French, is like a trump card. And there is no harm in having a trump card with you when you know that your future is so promising. Fine. So take French as a trump card, learn French to the fullest, and you knowingly or unknowingly, you are really going to achieve in your life. As I was telling in the beginning that I will be, due to my pack schedules, I must not. I really wish to come on a live stream every weekend, but then it's not. It's really little time constraint. I will try, but definitely I would request you all, those who are my viewers, and those who are known to you, and you want them to learn something new, learn something which is very good, which is beneficial for everyone. Ask them also to, you also subscribe. Dialogue, Megan, definitely, definitely. Okay, so ask them to subscribe and do click on the bell icon, because if you don't click on the bell icon, I could make out from few of my viewers that they were saying that they are not getting the notifications. So when I am putting some updates, you will you will be the first person to know about those things when you click onto your notifications. If you don't click on your notifications, so you may miss out on a very important topic. And in this particular scenario, I know most of you are attending online classes, or people who are trying to migrate to Canada or other parts of the country wherein French is spoken widely, and you actually in need of learning this language. This is a great platform. This is a great platform. Yes, good, Megan, good. So when you have such a platform, why don't you make use of it? And I would always prefer to have a very interactive session with my viewers, so that it's learning that is happening. It's not just a video I'm doing, it's learning that's happening. I want my viewers to learn something good, to learn that will benefit them for a future, because French has got its own importance. It's a foreign language, but it's widely spoken. I have discussed these things before as well, but I would like to reiterate saying that it is spoken by more than 700 million people all over the world in 5 continents, and it is the second largest spoken language in the world, next to English. I will not say Mandarin here, because Mandarin is spoken by group of people who may not, you will say that all over the world. But yes, Mandarin is also a very good language. But then the widespread of French along with English is something should be noticeable. And the other day I was very happy, while I received a message from one of my viewer has put a comment in watching one of the video that, that video actually helped that person clear an examination. So it was something which actually rejuvenates you. Have a feeling that, uh, this video or the video that I have uploaded has helped somebody to clear an exam. It is something which I really appreciate. So a person who really looked into and was actually wanting to have something, and so that's how it has helped that person. So I just want to ask my viewers, I have discussed or have an elaborate discussion on Passé Composé today. I have discussed about different forms of formations of Passé Composé. We have discussed on affirmative, negative, and interrogative forms in Passé Composé. We also discussed on the simple tenses and compound tenses. How do we differentiate between simple tenses and compound tenses? Just a briefing I would like to tell you is that, let it be English or let it be French, simple tenses are the one which does not either have an auxiliary or an expression, and especially with emphasis to French, we have seven compound tenses and six simple tenses, and these simple tenses do not have either the auxiliary verbs or the expressions, whereas the compound tenses, they have either an auxiliary verb or expressions, and passé composé is the first compound tense among the rest of the seven. So we will be looking into all the seven compound tenses. COD and COI, as I have just seen a suggestion from one of the viewer that need an explanation for that. Definitely COD and COI is also a tricky topic, but the only thing that you have to keep in mind is that to understand COD, complément de object dire, COI, complément de object and dire, you must have a very good knowledge in passé composé, because passé composé, as I said, is the first strand of compound tenses. And when you understand this concept very clearly, because COD and COI is a little higher level of the grammar, which usually comes and starts from grade 8, 9, 10. In 11 and 12, it's basically literature. It's literally poetical expressions and the writing skills. So tenses actually helps you to enhance your writing skills. So if you want to enhance your writing skills, as I said before, you can't always write in present tense, isn't it? You have to express your emotions through writings. What do we express? You express your emotions, your feelings. Some people express their feelings and emotions through speech. Some of you are very good in writing. To enhance your writing, the best thing is to be very clear about the grammatical aspect of that language. Let it be English or French. And when I say French, it's a little more complicated than English, but I will not say it is difficult. If you want to learn that particular language to the best of your use, must be very clear with the basics. And in my platform, my channel, my emphasis is to make my viewers thorough with each and every concept of this language in such a way that sitting at home, that's my basic concept. If you remember my introductory video, that was my first thing that I explained, that the motto or the purpose of this channel is to make you learn irrespective to your age, whether you are a student or you are a person who is working or a person who wants to clear for a TEF examination or a DELF examination. The concept is not just making a student going to the school to learn this particular language. No, definitely I have started from the basics, and my idea is to take it to the highest level, so that everybody can make use of this particular language. I do understand that some of you face some issues while learning this language, because most of them, I should say, it's a new language that you are learning, and initial glitches will be definitely there, as we had an initial glitch in the starting of the video, right? I'm just taking it as a metaphor. So in the initial starting of the video, we were having glitches, we were having issues, but then the issues got sorted out, and then we have a smooth running of the video. Similar is any language. When you start learning, you will have glitches, and In the beginning you will have glitches, but you try to, resolve the issues, you try to solve the problem, then you can see things moves in a very smooth way. And knowingly or unknowingly, maybe within a year or so, a person who was a beginner now in this platform is a person who is able to clear many exams, or you are a person who is able to read at least and write. I will not say that in 2 months, 3 months, you will be a person who will be fluently speaking French, but definitely try, and without trying, things cannot work out. Fine. So, I think I have very clearly stated today what is passé composé. And this is one of the most important concept in French, because this is the first compound tense that you have learned. So I request all my viewers, those who could join me right now as a live stream, thank you very much to be a part of the discussion right ongoing. Those who couldn't, definitely please do watch this video, so that whatever you have missed on in the live stream, you are able to make use of it when you are seeing this video recording. Do write your messages in the comment box, so that I can come up with a new topic, a new initiative, a particular initiative, new topic that definitely related to French and also English, so that you have learning happening every movement. That is the motto of this particular video, and I'm sure that this will be benefiting you every time and always whenever I am with you. With that note, I would like to sign off from today's live stream. Thank you very much, one and all, everyone present here in this live stream. And let us catch up with the next session in the next live stream, when I will be scheduling. As I told you before, please do put the notification on, so that you can get the notification always on the first hand. Thank you, and have a nice day, all of you. Thank you very much.